The BBC is usually desperate to include drag queen stories as news reports. So you look at their news page and there'll be a flood in Bangladesh, something about NHS wasting times, and then a story, delicious signs for next season of RuPaul's Drag Race or whatever. So these stories are clearly not newsworthy. They're just the BBC's way of pushing the LGBT agenda. Now, back in 2023, this story was reported by the BBC. From Cardiff, police investigating death of drag queen. He was last seen as around 5 a.m. on Sunday morning, dressed in drag, and was wearing full face makeup, a luminous green dress, a blonde wig, and diamante heels, and was carrying a matching clutch bag. Now, in that report, that's not like a police description of someone who's been found dead. That's sort of playing along with the glam drag ethos, isn't it? It's a bit like if there'd been a car crash. They didn't just say it was a red Fiesta. They say it was a red Fiesta ST with carbon fibre spoiler, Recaro sports seats, tinted windows and a modified exhaust system. If someone reports like that, they're playing along with boy racerism, aren't they? It's the same sort of thing happening with this report. Anyway, the BBC report continues. A vigil for Mr. Moore will be held on Churchill Way in Cardiff at 8:30 on Wednesday before moving to the Golden Cross pub, that's the gay pub in Cardiff, at 9 o'clock. So the BBC are publicising this vigil for him, basically. I mean, they say they're just reporting the news, but obviously they're publicising it, advertising it to people. And the police, South Wales Police, said Cardiff has a long and proud tradition of recognising, celebrating and protecting equality and diversity. Okay, that's the end of that report. Next report from the BBC. Man arrested after death of drag queen in the city. Tributes were paid to him at a vigil held in Cardiff city centre on Wednesday evening. The arrested man remains in police custody where he has been questioned and Mr. Moore's family have been updated, South Wales Police said. A post-mortem examination has been conducted. Further tests have been carried out to establish the cause of death, the force added. Deputy Chief Inspector Paul Riggs said, initial investigations have so far not revealed or confirmed any obvious cause of death. However, extensive inquiries are continuing to establish the cause and circumstances of Mr. Moore's death. And then people at the vigil said everyone in the gay community knew him. He was just liked by everyone. Even though he was only 18 or 19 at the time, he would be up on the bar dancing and singing. It was a highlight of the week to come and see him sing. Another person at the vigil, this is Mikey Webb, described Mr. Moore's death as very sad and worrying. It's also very worrying for Cardiff, a city, and for queer people in Cardiff on the scene to think that this kind of thing can still happen in 2023. Then the BBC just adds something at the end of this report, which we didn't mention before, but now a bit of extra information about Mr. Moore. He was jailed in March 1999 after being convicted of 4 counts of rape of a boy under 16. At the time, Mr. Moore would have been aged around 15 or 16, according to my calculations. In 2011, he was also sentenced to a 3-year community order and given 300 hours of unpaid work for breaching of a sex offender's order. Okay, it's going a bit off message now, isn't it, BBC? Right, the next headline, drag queen manslaughter suspect released from bail. And then another headline a bit later, no charges following death of drag queen Darren Moore. And as far as the BBC is concerned, that's the end of the story. That's the latest episode, the last episode, and they've now gone quiet. Why haven't they carried on with this story? Why haven't they told us what was found out about this case? Well, I'm going to tell you what was found out about it. This report's from the Daily Mirror. It was reported in other papers as well. The details are sordid, I will warn you, but this is what actually happened. So, registered sex offender Darren Meah-Moore, aged 39, was found dead in a central Cardiff lane and was last seen leaving the Pulse nightclub in full drag. An inquest into Meah-Moore's final moments heard that the married drag queen, married to a man obviously, who performed under the names Crystal Couture and Cece Quinn and had appeared on RuPaul's Drag Race, had sex with several men. Pontypridd Coroner's Court heard CCTV captured Meah-Moore reappearing on camera multiple times from a lane and during encounters with 2 men. He then failed to appear following the 3rd encounter with a man who later told the coroner his dog was involved in a sexual encounter with the drag queen. The inquest was told that tests had found human and non-human semen inside Meah-Moore's body and that it matched the third man's dog. The hearing was told pathologists ultimately found the death was not traumatic, meaning there hadn't been sort of external injuries. Tests were carried out to see if Meah-Moore was allergic to dogs, with the coroner adding a pathologist had theorised that the drag queen may have died suddenly from like an allergic reaction to canine semen. The inquest heard the dog owner went to a secluded car park with Meah-Moore and started having sex with him. Mr. Reagan added, Darren had been socialising during the previous night in a number of city centre locations. He'd had sexual contact with at least 2 males. It's likely he came to be in a collapsed state between 5:52 a.m. and 6:33 a.m. that morning following penetration by a dog whilst in the company of its owner. It's not known what caused him to be in a collapsed state. How about that then? BBC, that didn't merit a report. So we've got 2 points to make following this. First of all, basically sexual perversion. I mean, Darren Meah-Moore was destroyed by the perversion of his sexuality. How did that happen? Was he himself abused? Maybe. Was it pornography? Maybe. But his life's been literally destroyed by the perversion of his sexuality. And other people have been seriously harmed as well. People that he has raped. Now, you may think I'm sounding like I've got some sort of sympathy for him. Well, in some ways I have. I'm sure if we knew his whole story, we'd think, well, there's other people to blame as well. But on the other hand, he should be utterly condemned for the things he's done and punished severely as well. But in our society, we like to endorse sexual and gender non-conformity, so living on the edge a little bit, and that can often be a smokescreen for more sinister perversions. That's number one. Number two, this is my main point, really, the BBC. When this looked like maybe a hate crime, a drag victim, gay community heartbroken, I mean, the BBC is right there. On there, the BBC have really got their tail up thinking, oh, this could be a good one for us. We're keen to get this message out. But then it all disappears. They mention he was a rapist in the last couple of lines. Then the whole sordid story emerges. Silence from the BBC. They don't think it's newsworthy. It's actually far more newsworthy than the earlier reports. But it doesn't suit their agenda, and so they just ignore it. Had it have come out that he'd been murdered because he was transgender, whoa, we'd have never heard the last of it. We'd have had Trans Lives Matter month and you name it. So, Scottish Family Party's policy on the BBC? Well, it's quite simple. Scrap the licence fee. Then if you want the BBC, you can pay for it. And if you don't, you won't. Personally, I wouldn't. Thanks for watching.